In Attack of the Clones, it's a bit tricky to discern whether it's the Force itself or Palpatine using the Force to bring Anakin and Padme together. I say this because Palpatine, being the devious, manipulative person that he is, would do such a thing. We are in the timeline where Palpatine has already began to manipulate Anakin and groom him and mold him into the person that we see in Revenge of the Sith. Now there are moments in this film that highlight my point. It seems a little too convenient to me that during the time that Padme, her life is being threatened, that Anakin and Obi-Wan just returned from a border dispute and are readily available to be her security detail, which Palpatine requested. Now, we know from the film itself that Count Dooku's behind um, Padme being assassinated. He hires Jango Fett, which Jango Fett then had Zam Wesell try to carry out the deed. But it's not really said that Palpatine was behind it. So that gets a little that seems like a rabbit hole that I'm not quite ready to go down yet. May save that one for later. But moving on, the Jedi Council request that Anakin and Padme go to Naboo and travel as refugees. Mace Windu specifically makes this request so that they can lay low while Obi-Wan investigates the attempted assassination on Padme. During this time, when Padme and Anakin are alone, they start their courting and kind of relationship. Now, Anakin has a vision of his mother dying, which could be argued whether it was Palpatine who inserted that vision or just the will of the Force itself. Either way, the Force is involved. Again, I'm leaning half and half on that because it is totally within Palpatine's character to do that. Now, frantic Anakin decides to leave Naboo to go to Tatooine, and Padme agrees. And they track down where Shmi was at the Lars residence, or the Lars family homestead, and they speak with Klieg Lars, who had married and freed Shmi, and find out that she was captured by Tuskens. And tells Anakin that it's been a month and there's like no hope and she's probably dead. Anakin is not he's not having it. So he ends up leaving, but not before him and Padme share an embrace, which shows on how close they are getting in their relationship. And he leaves and goes and finds her. Now, when he does find her and he frees her, there's like maybe 2 minutes tops that they have together before she dies, which I also find a little convenient that she dies so quickly after he finds her. Is it the Force that kept her alive? Was it Palpatine that kept her alive? That I do not know for sure, but either way, it's the Force that's got a part to play in it. Now, after she dies, we see his face change from just utter devastation to anger. And this is where we see our first glimpse on screen of Vader when he ignites his lightsaber and cuts down the Tuskens. And when he tells this to Padme, the horrified look on her face says it all. But somehow she decides to stay with him. which to this day still doesn't sit right with me, because anybody with, any kind of common sense would take that moment and be like, yeah, you know what, I'm out. But she didn't. Now that could be a sign that she has already started to fall for him, but I digress. So she stays with him, obviously, and then they get a distress call from Obi-Wan from Geonosis and realize that they are the only people in the area that can help him. So they leave to Geonosis, where they are separated briefly, but then captured. And while they are about to be escorted to their execution, Padme confesses her love to Anakin, which we had seen in a few instances that it was coming. And not long after, they escape their shackles, and the Jedi arrive along with the clones, and the Clone Wars begin, and Anakin and Padme are married. Now, if you take those moments and think about it, you could still argue if it was Palpatine of the Force. Now, why would Palpatine want Anakin and Padme together? What would be his motive? Well, if you think like a devious person who's trying to corrupt someone, you would alter a situation where the person gets what they want only to take it away. And I think that was Palpatine's goal. Now, the Force's goal was to bring them together so they can conceive. Palpatine's goal was to bring them together so that he could take her away. That would only fuel Anakin's anger even more, because that's all Palpatine wants. He wants Anakin to join him willingly, and that would do it. But that doesn't happen until the next movie, and I will be covering that soon. Thank you for listening to my rant about how I think the Force is working in this film, among, the other one that I did on The Phantom Menace and the one I'm about to do on Revenge of the Sith. I think in my eyes anyway, I think it's interesting to look at certain events through a different perspective. So I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you for listening. May the Force be with you, and always be positive.